So let's just take a look. I bet it's bad. Matter of fact, I just about guarantee you it is. Look at that.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
Howdy folks, I'm Darren. Welcome to 8th Day Chronicles here at Cross Timbers Farm. Glad to have you with us on this beautiful day here on the farm. We completed baling our main hay field 2 days ago. And we initially cleaned up our baler when we were finished that evening. If you saw that video, I don't know if I exactly filmed it or not, but I alluded to it. Before I parked this baler here in the barn that evening, when we finished baling, I lifted the bale gate open and cut the valve to where it couldn't shut on the hydraulic system. And I blew out under there real good with a leaf blower and got in there and pulled out some of that trapped hay chaff that gets stuck in there and some hay pieces that get stuck. Cleaned it out best we could. However, that's just the beginning of cleaning it. There's an area on this baler, if you haven't saw our other video, about how hay gets so trapped between the rollers and this skin on the back door. It just gets packed in there. I mean compacted. With those rollers turning, say my hand here's the skin or the metal, sheet metal on the outside, and the rollers here turning, hay will get up in between those on some bars. There's some structural support bars for that baler on the frame of it that runs through there. That hay will get in behind those bars and the rollers and that skin and just pack in there. And what happens while it's in there packed like that, and you're trying to bale more hay and more hay, it starts putting pressure against either the skin or the rollers. It just keeps compacting in there and it needs out. Especially if you're done baling for the year. That's ultra important, I believe, to get it out of there. But even through your routine maintenance through the hay season, through the summer, take that skin off of your door or the sheet metal on the back and clean out from behind that at least mid-season. If you've done it the winter and you do all your first cuts before you do your other ones, mid-season clean that thing out, and then again at the end of season clean it again. But just from looking in some of the cracks here where the hydraulic arm attaches and things of that nature, I can see that there is hay really packed between those rollers and that sheet metal on that back bale door. We're gonna go ahead today and clean it out. We may cut some hay this evening on our west field. I'm watching the weather intently. It's iffy right now for Friday. Today's a Monday. I think we would need until Friday to bale it. The forecast for Friday's iffy. We'll keep watching it the rest of the day. For now, until a little later this afternoon, it's morning now, we're gonna go ahead and get this baler cleaned up, ready for the next baling session. Let me show you how you can kind of tell if your baler skin back here on the back door needs cleaned. And there's some telltale signs without even opening the bale door, without anything, that you can look in there and see that, I need to clean it. If you haven't watched that other video where we got rid of those little tabs that hold these back side panels on in the back, they're still held on up here by your bolts, but they had bolts here holding these side panels on as well, and they were held on by tabs on each side, holding the back side on. Man, that was a pain in the rear to take those side panels off and then to try to put those tabs back on and align it all back up. If you haven't saw that video, go back and search for it where we took those tabs off and just replaced them with some zip ties, and it works. So this should be a lot easier process than the last time where we had to deal with those tabs. Okay folks, here on your baler, when you're done baling, there's a few places you can notice that if hay's starting to get really compacted between this bale skin and the rollers. Right in this crack, look in there. Can you see that hay just compacted in there? Trapped right in there. Okay, right here where your hydraulic arm comes. Look how much hay's caught in there. Can you see that? And I've pulled out quite a bit of it, just by hand, reaching in there. But you can see right in there, there's all kinds of hay in there. Again, over on this side, that's indications this baler, the skin on this back door, between it and the rollers and the bars is getting pretty compacted with hay. So let's clean it out. We're gonna lock the fluid in this cylinder. We're gonna turn our valve, right here, closing the valve, and then I'm going to shut the valve off, both. Okay, now we're just going to remove this nut. Okay, and we're going to slide the bolt out. This is now loose. We're just going to flip it up out of our way, just like that. Okay, on the top here we have 3 bolts that we're going to have to remove. Now I'm going to let this back down on that and it'll hold it. Okay, we got our 3 bolts across the top out. Okay, now I am going to remove these side panels. Very simple. Lay your panels to the side. Man, that's so much easier without having to deal with those tabs. Right off to the side. Okay, we have all our bolts out. Pretty simple. These bolts on the side do have a nut on the back. That's why you go ahead and remove these side panels so you can access those bolts. It's all loose. Let's pull the cover off. So let's just take a look. I bet it's bad. Matter of fact, I just about guarantee you it is. Look at that. That's why you clean out from under this thing. Good grief at the hay. Stuck in this. That's unreal. And it is so compacted. I mean, it's flat like a pancake where it's been in those rollers. And those rollers packing it. Wow. That's why you clean out from under it. All right. Next step, leaf blower. Everything cleaned up. Blowed out all the old hay and chaff out. Cleaned our sprockets and chain drives on the sides while they were really easily accessible. We're ready to put our back cover, or our skin as I call it, back on. It goes back on first. Just put everything back in reverse order. This is so much easier with those tabs gone. And like I said, if you don't understand what I'm talking about with those tabs, I'll try to put a link in the video, or I'll link at the very end of this video a clickable link where you can just click on that video and watch it. about where we replaced these tabs. It explains it in better detail. Little Baler's done. I'm a huge proponent of being proactive and not reactive. When you see something that needs maintenance on one of these balers, you see hay sticking out these cracks really bad and you just reach there and it just pulls and pulls, that's an indication that it's packed in behind this door skin. Preventive maintenance goes a long, long way, and it's not that difficult to do, especially since I got rid of these tabs. Made this chore a whole lot easier. This is the test plot. Have mercies it looking good. I think this is the best our test plot's ever looked. I want you to look at the orchard and fescue and Timothy. Good grief, it's thick in here. I've never seen this test plot this thick. I think our combination of the urea and the fertilizer has really worked. Best it's ever looked. It's almost ready to cut again. We're just watching the weather to see when we can cut our west field. It needs it. It's getting close to being past prime. It needs to cut soon. But the weather is not looking favorable. We have rain expected this evening, then 3 days worth of sun, and then the 4th day, pretty high chances of rain for a couple of days. So 3 days is not enough to dry down first cut. So I don't know, we're just gonna wait and see what happens. And it'll all work out fine, one way or the other. God's good all the time, and all the time God's good. All right, got our spreader hooked up. That's a little Cosmo pull behind spreader. One of the best purchases for this farm we ever made. That thing is fantastic. We're getting ready to fertilize our main hay field. Hurricane Helene done a number on our hay field, but to come look at it 2 months after the storm, you looked around and said, well, there's no damage here. The damage was below the surface. The streams of water, there was literally creeks running through this field. When you get 30 inches of rain, or right at 30 inches of rain in an area, man, that water's going somewhere. The ground was just so saturated, it was just going to run off. And took a lot of our micronutrients and nutrients with it. Probably a multi-year project to get these nutrients put back in our soil. We finished our baling, got everything off the field 3 days ago. So now we're ready to start spreading our fertilizer to replace some of those nutrients. And what we're going to use is 19 fertilizer. This is probably going to be a multi-year project of putting soil nutrients back in our soil. The topsoil, I think, is really low in nutrients because of all that water that washed through this field. I think washed a lot of them out of our topsoil. This field, for first cut, comparing first cut to the years previous, 3 or 4 years previously, this field did not produce like it has in the past. Our nutrient levels in the soil, in the topsoil, is really low because of the flooding. And so we're going to begin a multi-year step process of replenishing that. I had not planned on fertilizing this year. We had invested so much in our soil for years, you know, just to build this soil up to produce high quality hay. And Hurricane Helene washed it away. But that's okay. Hey, we survived that hurricane, and we're fine, and our family's fine, and all else is just gravy. So we'll replenish it. We're starting now. It was very obvious at our baling 3 days ago that the quantity that we got off this field was low compared to years past. It was sparse, and especially in areas where the water had ran so bad through our fields. You could literally, from the tractor seat driving along mowing hay and looking down into that hay, you could literally see the areas where the creek had ran. Even if you hadn't been here to saw it in person, you could tell where the water washed really bad. It did everywhere, but it channeled down into certain little ravines and dips in the field and ran. And you could tell it when I was cutting the hay. We got the Honda Foreman and the Cosmo spreader all hooked up, and we're getting ready to spread fertilizer. Why are we spreading it today? The weatherman says now, earlier today when we was doing maintenance on the baler, cleaning the hay out, the rain chances for tonight, this evening, were pretty low, like around 30.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Now they're up to saying 99% chance of rain this evening. It's about 6 p.m. now. The weather people are saying the rain will be here about 8 p.m., 8:30, 9 o'clock, about dusk. So I pray they're not wrong, because we've not cut hay today because of that rain chances. And the rain chance is pretty high for rain in 3 days, so that kills our window to cut this week. But they're saying rain tonight, so that's our opportunity to spread our fertilizer on the main hay field. And man, I pray it does rain. Usually I don't say that, but come fertilizer time, you really need the rain to soak that fertilizer into the ground, so it just don't just lay on the surface. And that's why we spread our fertilizer when it's getting ready to rain. Boy, bag number one. Bag number one going into the hopper. Pro Ag 1919. Fertilizer prices, it's so far this spring and early summer has come down. And we do not have a local co-op, a farmer's co-op. I wish we did, but we don't. So we buy it in bags, 50-pound bags. And last year we bought 1919, $21.99 a bag. This year, this early spring and summer, we bought it a couple of weeks ago, about a month, yeah, I guess about a month ago, and $17.50 a bag. Big savings. I pray the weatherman ain't lied to us again. You know, farming is so dependent on the weather. I mean, about everything you do is weather dependent. Sometimes it makes you wonder how there's even any food in the grocery stores. Farmers are a resilient bunch. And man, the stresses that go along with it, I don't let it stress me out, but it does some people. I know some farmers that I mean, their livelihood depends on, is it gonna rain today or is it not? Or is it gonna rain this week? If it don't stop raining, I can't get my seed in the ground, et cetera, whether it be soybeans or a hay farmer needing to put his fertilizer on the fields, or needing rain for that, needing a 5-day window or 4-day window of sunshine and no rain to be able to get your hay crop in. Darren, why don't it stress you like it does a lot of folks? Because I know that God in heaven above is in control of this whole thing. Whether it be the weather, whether it be the current state of affairs in the world, whether it be politics, whether it be whatever the situation is, finances, God's in control. And if you put your trust and faith in His Son, Jesus Christ, your outlook on things like this change. So you have a peace and a joy that most folks don't have. And I'm not stressing over this weather and the hay. Hey, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. If it rains on it, it rains on it. If it comes a drought, it comes a drought. I'm a winner either way. Have mercy, it don't take long to throw out 200 pounds of fertilizer. This thing makes quick work of it. So, something's been on my mind lately that I want you guys, our viewers' opinion about. With the weather, we've entered into the last several years in such a odd weather pattern for what's normal for here. Springs and early summers, we go just from too much rain to later in the summer, almost a drought. But my problem is first cuts. We've had such a hard time getting that window. We've still got our Westfield back there that ain't even been cut yet for first cut. We can't, rain. The longest period window we can get to cut that lately has been like a 3-day period. I can't make 3-day hay here. Our humidity and stuff is just too high. And it's first cut hay, which steamy, which stem holds moisture longer than your this second or third cut leafy matter would. I have seriously been giving thought to baleage. You can make 2-day hay. In other words, it ain't gonna be dry hay. Now I'm not talking about silage or haylage, you know, it's chopped, but baleage. Start baling, cut your hay, even if you have rain in the forecast in 3 days, and you can cut one day, leave your hay and let it start a dry down the next day in good sun, and the 3rd day, bale it and wrap it. I'd like to know your thoughts on that. What do you think of baleage? I know a lot of horse owners prefer dry hay for their horse's gut health, but I've been doing a lot of reading on baleage and studying, trying to educate myself on baleage. And more horse owners across the country are starting to feed baleage. There's a professor at the University of Wisconsin. His name's Dr. Undersander. Man, this guy is a genius when it comes to forages and hay. And the hay process is how you make good hay. I've read some of his reports and his studies and watched some of his videos through University of Wisconsin about baleage. And the nutritional value of baleage. Now I'm talking apples to apples. Your grasses and your hay is good to start with. And my battery's dead. You would have to have good forage to start with. Now we're comparing apples to apples. You can't go out and bale up ragweed and horse nettle and all that stuff and just wrap it and think you're gonna have something good. You're not. Apples to apples, your forage, your hay is good, it's high quality. Baling it early and wrapping it at a higher moisture content also usually has a higher nutritional value, because when that hay lays and respires, even if you spread it out good, you do everything you can, and you have to excuse me for swatting at gnats, to spread it out good for those stomatal openings to stay open and all that stuff in the sun, preserve the best sugars and starches and nutrients in your dry hay that you can. We do that. Regardless, you still lose some through the natural respiration of that plant dying. You lose some of your nutrients. When you can cut and rake and bale in 3 days, you've cut that nutrient loss by quite a bit. And I'm reading through the internet and different horse forums. I haven't really talked to our customers about it, and that I'll need to do that. But you can wrap that up, cut one day, let it dry one day, bale the 3rd day, and have a very high nutritional value product, high quality. Now, when you cut that bale open, it would need to be fed within, a day, because then it could start spoiling because you've allowed air to it. But if it's fed within, a reasonable amount of time, 24 hours, it's fine, from everything I read and have studied. One of the problems is finding a bale wrapper that'll wrap these 2x2 little small round bales, and I think I found one. A model that's got pretty good reviews, and but I'm real curious. I'm not committed to that yet, but I'm sure studying it, and I'm almost leaning that way. It's an investment. What I've been researching and what I found is that wrapping our 2x2 bales would add a cost increase of our hay. That's not making a profit off just the wrapping. That's just passing on the exact cost that it costs me. You're still paying for the quality of the product inside. It's just going to have to be packaged differently, and that package costs a little extra. Everything I've studied so far tells me that it will cost our farm, but around $1.10–15 up to $1.25 per bale to wrap it. And that's counting the wrap and figuring a few cents in per bale over time to pay for the machine, the wrapper, which is nothing in the hay business is dirt cheap, but this small scale hay equipment is much more affordable than large scale. It's much more affordable than large scale. But even then, you got your costs of buying a bale wrapper machine, and then buying rolls of plastic to wrap it, and roll after roll after roll, you know, depending on how much you do. But let me know your thoughts. If we have other small scale hay farmers out here in our channel, and I know we do, have you ever considered baleage and wrapping your bales? And those that just enjoy our channel but don't make hay yourself, thank you for that. Would you rather buy dry hay or baleage? Drop a comment and let us know. Have you ever tried baleage? Just give me your thoughts on it. It's clouding up. Maybe the weatherman's right. All right, we got 200 more pounds in our hopper. This hopper will hold 250. No, it'd probably hold 300 pounds, but 200 fits our ATV good and all to pull it around and spread it. So that's what we, every time, load it with 200 pounds. I'm seriously considering baleage. And if you have fed baleage to horses, because our customers are mostly horse owners and dairy goat owners, and which I'm telling you, you need to be feeding dairy goats just as high quality hay as you would horses. And we want to maintain our high quality, but man, I'm telling you, being able to cut one day, dry one day, bale the third day, that is very appealing based on how the weather patterns are anymore. You just can't, you know, and we would not quit making dry hay. Even if we made baleage on our first cut, later in the summer when we get into a drier weather pattern, we would probably still make at least one of our main cuts dry hay. But I'm thinking we would make our very first cut of the year into baleage. But not if it's not something our customers would be interested in. But and I'm going to talk to them about that. But let me know your thoughts. Have you ever fed baleage specifically to horses or dairy goats? And if you've just fed baleage to cattle or goats or whatever, sheep, let me know in the comments what you think of baleage versus dry hay. All right, back to spreading we go. We're right at done with this field. It's sure clouding up. Maybe for once the weather people are going to be right. And I just felt a drop of rain. Hallelujah. Wet drops of rain on my four-wheeler seat. All right, let's get this spread quickly. Last load. I think for once the rain, no, let me back up. Last Friday when we got done baling hay, I no more hardly got our baler and tractor blew off real good, cleaned up a little bit and backed into the barn, and it started raining. And our friends that came and bought that hay, my wife Susan, she texted them or something. They communicated somehow, and they just barely got home with that hay and dumped it. If you saw that video, his truck's got a dump bed on it. He just barely got that dumped into the barn and it started raining. You talk about perfect timing. We just got our fertilizer spread on the main hay field, and it started sprinkling when we were finishing up. And it's quit for right now, but goodness gracious, you can look right over here where the clouds are coming from. Look on the radar, and they're supposedly coming from that direction, and it is dark that way. It's gonna rain, hopefully more. So we got it done just in time, perfectly. So we've got our spreader cleaned up, starting to sprinkle rain again. All right, we still got our west field to cut. I don't know what to tell you about when we're gonna cut it. The weather forecast, rain tonight, clear for the next 3 days. Rain the 4th day, and then rain 50–60% chances every day after that for another week. So it is what it is. I don't know. I don't know when we'll be cutting it. I can tell you this, it's probably going to be past prime hay. So maybe a lot of undergrowth from all this rain will start up through it and make it better than what it would be. So we'll just see. There's nothing we can do about it. Good Lord's in control of the weather. But I know one thing, it's late in the evening and we've got a lot of chores done today. Thanks for being with us. I really appreciate it. I pray God blesses you and your family. And I pray y'all have a fantastic day.